Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I have something a little different today. I have a surprise guest. This is my sister Alexa. So my fiance and I are actually in Virginia visiting my family. So I thought that while I am here, I do a video with my sister. And I think that she is a good example of about all the things that we talk about on this channel. Weight loss and being naturally skinny, which is basically the main topic we're going to talk about today. So, and it's funny because actually some of you have asked me before about my family, and like, you know, I talked about being an obese kid, and some people were like, well, what was it like in your family life? Because typically that is something that you can run in the family, right?
Sure.
And again, when I say run in the family, I mean it's like the habits and stuff. So yeah, I thought we'd be a little bit honest about that. So yeah, I guess we can just get right into it. So talking about our past, I mean, yeah, I was obese growing up, and there were some of us in our family that did kind of struggle with their weight too. And I think it was just because all of us, we had a really bad diet. And like I said before, it's not like my parents did anything intentionally. We love them. We all made bad decisions, you know what I mean? Things like that.
Yeah.
So no one blames. Yeah, it was just 90s. Everyone is eating that kind of stuff. But you know, so there's like my father and then my sister Alexa, my other sister, they were always thinner. And so I guess we would call like the naturally thin. So I thought we would talk about that today. Hold the mic near you.
Yeah.
It's her first time.
It is my first time,
shoot.
so forgive me.
Yeah, we are trying to do this in between. So she has two twin boys and a 5-year-old boy.
4-year-old.
So, 4-year-old, sorry. So we're trying to like do this in between all of that.
Yeah,
They're napping right now.
It's crazy town here.
Yeah. But yes, okay, so this idea of naturally thin, I know that you kind of like agree with me. There is no such thing as like naturally skinny, in that no one can eat like 5,000 calories a day and stay really thin. Not unless you're working out a ton or you're like 6'4", right? I mean, you agree with me in that statement, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that, sorry.
You have to hold it closer.
Here's the thing. I mean, for sure, you and I both know this, and I think it's not new knowledge to a lot of people, but I will tell you, I have twins, so I can see firsthand just the difference with one of my twins is just a heavier set. I would say they eat about the same. One is more active than the other. And so I do think that that plays a role into weight gain. Not to say that, of course, a bad diet is always going to be a bad diet, right?
Yeah.
But for sure, movement. And one of my twins is just much more active. So he is just leaner.
Yeah.
And now, obviously, we all grew up in the same household. So the food choices were there for all of us.
Yeah, no, I mean, so you talk about like, you can see the difference in how your kids are different, right? And how their different habits and how it contributes to what they look like. But yeah, I mean, as far as us, I think that was the difference too, in that, you know, we all eat the same diet. You were never obese growing up, because I think you just are naturally, you don't eat as much. I can tell even now when I'm here, you know, she eats whatever she wants, but she doesn't eat as much, right? And I think that was the key growing up. It's funny because they actually did like a study on kindergartners, where they did like a study. They fed all the kindergartners lunch, all had the same thing, right? And then they let them play. They had like a table set up with all kinds of snacks, and they said, oh, you can have whatever you want. So all the kids some kids would take maybe one or two, and they'd like, you know, eat it, and then they'd go off and they'd go play, they'd get distracted. The other group would just keep eating. And it's like, so it just goes to show, I always say that, you know, like, obesity is like the mindset, like you're wired differently. Like when I eat something, I just don't want to stop, you know? And I think that was the difference. So it's like, okay, yes, she was always very thin. Other sister's very thin. My dad is on the thinner side, but we all eat the same things. They ate less of it. However, there was a point, again, where you were heavier than you wanted to be. And
to
you
be
lost
honest, I didn't think much about it. It really wasn't until you were kind of this bridge into the health world for actually our whole family. And what I mean by that was when I was at my heaviest, I believe I was about 160. And
for reference, we're around the same height. I'm 5'8", you're what, 5'7"?
5'7".
5'7.5", something like that.
Yeah. So we're at the same height. And again, I never really thought much of it. I mean, I knew that I didn't have the body that I idolized, of course, right?
You always looked good. She's always been like the beautiful, like
Thank you.
cheerleader type sister. But yeah.
Thank you. I don't think I was definitely more overweight. But again, I didn't know how to change it, right? Like I do remember going to Taco Bell after school.
Yeah.
And eating a whole nacho bel grande and not thinking anything of it because I didn't know what a calorie was.
We ate that stuff all the time.
We ate it all the time.
It was so bad.
Like chips and dip and like
ice
soda
cream.
and ice cream, and like there was never any
Costco
limit,
size.
right?
Yes, that's why I told
That's the
them
other
before.
thing. There was never
any limit.
No,
Yeah.
there was never any. And I will say this: I think that and again, I'm not bashing parents. Okay,
Yeah.
love you, mom and dad.
yes,
Not bashing that.
exactly,
I think that, and it now I'm a parent.
They
so I
didn't
see
know
how hard
either.
it
They
is.
came from the 60s. They didn't have to worry about that
Yes.
stuff. This was new to them too. So
Boundaries.
Yeah.
Boundaries within food.
Yes.
We didn't have that. There was never like, you know, you have to wait until dinner, or, you know, you are not allowed in that pantry closet, or, you know. So that's something that I've seen even as a parent, that you do have to
do some kind of restriction.
You do.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, of course, a kid is going to want to go and get ice cream.
Of course, they will prefer the French fries over the broccoli. That's just kids.
Of course.
You know?
I prefer the French fries over the broccoli.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Speaking of which, I just ate like a whole thing of French fries from Chick-fil-A because, again, I know, guys, I've been bad. I've been trying to be like, I did my summer slim down video not too long ago, and I was like, yeah, I'm doing all this stuff. But I'm just as guilty as being bad. Like, we've been here on vacation, and we've had one day was my parents' anniversary. We had 2 cakes. Okay. All of us, all the cake was gone.
It was all
okay.
gone.
We
all of it.
you know, we've just been eating bad. But yeah, no, I agree that you have
all
to
about
have.
bounce.
Huh?
It's all about balance, you know?
I know. Well, when I will say though, we've been taking care of these kids. Well, we've been helping her take care of these kids. It's crazy here. So I get how you lost the weight.
Shout out to Whitney and Jeff.
Quickly. Well, but now I can see like why it's like, okay, you're still so thin and look so good, but you're also taking these kids are everywhere. So I get. She's like, one day you said you did like 17,000 steps.
No,
in the
that's
house.
like normal.
That's like a normal
so
day.
normal day for me
Yeah.
is between 14,000 to 17,000 steps.
Yeah.
That alone is, I mean,
no, that's amazing.
you don't have time to eat. Like,
Yeah.
you're not having time to really sit around and snack.
Right. It's
but
staying busy. That really helps you. Yeah.
Staying busy.
But you also you eat pretty healthy. Like, so she eats whatever she wants, like when she wants it, pretty much. But you also eat really healthy, though. Ish.
So I use that say lightly because, look, I am not, there is no such thing as naturally skinny, okay? I'm just going to clear the air right now.
Yeah.
It's not a thing, okay? Like, I can't eat what I want and not gain weight. Right now, I have probably gained about, I don't know, maybe 8 pounds from a few months ago. Do I think I'm overweight? No. But I do think that, you know, with me...
You do think with you that it's not, you have to be more intentional.
No, it's not like I have a higher metabolism, right? I mean... Like,
you still have to work out. You still have to think about what you eat.
I still,
Like...
Yeah,
you're not just
like,
mindlessly
I want to
stuffing
eat certain foods, but I
right.
just don't. And also, you know, I don't crave certain foods. Like there's not like pizza, right? Like that's not something that makes me sorry. Like it sounds like sorry.
Yeah. So no, you can eat. I mean, you're not like crazy. We're like, oh, she'll never eat a bite of like chocolate or whatever. But you do. It is more intentional. You do have to eat healthy. You do notice, like you were saying, now you gained about 8 pounds.
Yeah.
So now we've been talking about like, okay, well, we have to get back into it, right? It's not like it's just something that just like, oh, like we just lose weight out of the blue, you know, like at least me, I have to be very intentional about it. I have to have some kind of plan, whether it's tracking calories or, you know, making sure I'm working out. But yeah, I mean,
you're really good about that. You're really good with tracking. I think you're really good you're a very determined person. So for you, when you set your mind to something, like you are very good at sticking to it.
I can be. I can also, you know, be the opposite. That I can veer off, right? Because I also do like to enjoy myself. I do think that you are a little bit better about that, though. And that, again, I think that is where we differ. Again, she does like that stuff. And obviously, I know you can gain weight. But I think that you are still better. Like when you can stop after a certain point when it comes to something. Like, and I think I can take it more to the extreme. It is just easier for me to take.
That's a fair statement.
Yeah. So
that's a fair statement.
I think that's a fair statement.
But I think for me though, and also, and maybe this is with you too, and we've talked about this right recently, where yes, I've gained 8 pounds and you know, I know where that came from and how it came from. And again, it's very slow. It's a very slow, well, actually it seems like it's fairly fast, but in reality it's probably really slow, right? Like I got down to a certain weight and in some ways I kind of give myself a little bit more freedom, like food freedom in the sense of, okay, for example, and this may seem petty to some of you, but in others maybe it might help, okay? These are just things that help me to stay thin.
We're all about
right?
honesty in here.
So like for example, I love yogurt, I eat yogurt. I always do, I do whole milk yogurt always because you want to fill up with good fats, but you know, rather than honey, I will use stevia, like a liquid stevia, and some berries in there. It just cuts calories. Honey can easily add, you know, another 120 calories to it. I mean, it's very easy to
depending on how
overdose
much
honey,
you put,
right? So
yeah.
this is just an example.
So it's like easy ways to
It's
cut those
very
calories.
easy to way
Yeah.
to like add calories. So for example, when I get down to a certain weight, that's like my luxury is like I'll add honey. Okay, and I know that sounds silly to some people, but it's the little things. I might add even more olive oil to a salad. I might add, more nuts to a salad. Like I might add on things that I typically, when I'm in a strict weight loss mode, that I wouldn't do. So, so I don't say I don't eat pizza and I don't eat fast food and I don't eat like a tub of ice cream.
Yeah.
But that's where I can overeat dates. Like these are things that I'm saying.
You can easily overeat unhealthy foods. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess what you're saying, for the most part, even when you do indulge these days, it's like you're indulging on the healthy things, like more olive oil, more yogurt and honey. Yeah. No, I get it. I think that's the way to go.
Like I'm not going to get obese from it, but I certainly can add more weight to my body than maybe I'm happy with.
For sure. Yeah. No, totally. I mean, I talk about all the time too. Like you can get fat on literally anything if you want to. You know what I mean? That's why it's like,
100%.
When people are saying, I think a lot of people just don't understand this. And again, I think it's probably stuff that we thought in the past too, right? But it's like, oh, people are like, well, I'm eating healthy and I'm not losing weight. Again, I love that. That's awesome. It's better than you eating junk food, right?
Yeah.
But if weight loss is your goal, it still comes down to calories. It always will. And people hate, when you say that, but it really always does. And it's like calories can add up so quickly.
So quickly.
Yeah.
The condiments that you add, I mean, you really don't cheese that you might add, right? Like these are things that do add up. And I'm just saying, like, it's not that it's unhealthy per se, but if you are trying to lose weight, okay, like this is probably the best advice. And I'm not saying that there's people out there that can do this, okay? But generally, the way that I maintain thin, the way that you maintain, a thin figure is just being very cognizant. If you are not sure how many calories you're adding, I think at this point you and I are like, honestly, we can almost eye it, okay?
We know what is in what, right?
Like I can average, like I pretty much know the calories, but it is also, again, it's easy to overdo it with honey because I'm not taking a tablespoon out of that. I'm not, with my olive oil, I'm not like taking a tablespoon out. So, but
if I'm tracking calories, though, then I need to. Because it's really like, remember those little containers? I've told you guys about the containers, right?
Yeah, those
so
are great.
I remember like when I got back into that, and again, I always thought I knew, okay, how much a cup was, how much half a cup was, whatever. When I saw those containers, though, I was like, oh my God, they're so tiny. I was like, wow, I was miscalculating for a long time. And that happens. It happens quickly. Like you think you know what you're doing, but it's just human nature. Eventually over time, like our perception of portion sizes changes. So
that's a good point. That is a good point.
So it is good sometimes,
size,
if you are gaining weight, and you think you're eating the same things, maybe go back to like get the container system or start measuring things just to kind of see, because it happens quickly. It really does.
Unless you're eating broccoli as a side with nothing on it,
exactly.
okay? Like
exactly.
there's an exception. Like if you're just having like one chicken breast, okay? Eat as much broccoli as you want with that. Like sometimes and again, like it may seem like boring to some people, but sometimes like that might be how I fill myself up. Like maybe I will just have a whole pot of broccoli with chicken or a small piece of steak. Like it's fine. Like,
and that is, I think, how we were made to eat anyway. It's just simple and healthy. The other night we, because we, like I said, we've been eating, like having a lot of stuff lately. So the other night she made a really good chicken, but we were just gonna have a simple dinner, and it was this chicken you made with some really good spices. We had Brussels sprouts and sweet potato fries, all made here, all in the oven. Simple and super delicious. And it's like, again, if people are going to tell us that that's toxic, that's depriving yourself, like I don't know, that's just crazy to me, because that's just whole foods and it's good for you.
It's insane to me that people think that it's toxic.
It's low calorie. It's lower calorie than like eating fried chicken and mashed potatoes, And it's just all the
you feel good.
Yeah, you
like,
feel good.
Truthfully,
exactly.
I will say, like at this point in my life, I don't crave none of that appeals to me. Like fried chicken does not appeal to me. Pizza does not appeal to me. Like fried, creamy, like that does not appeal to me because I know the way I feel after. I feel terrible after. Like I don't feel good. So I don't crave it. Like I really don't like feeling bad, and I just eat what makes me feel good.
And once the longer you stay away from that stuff, I think the less you crave it.
Yeah.
And again, like on occasion, I mean, sometimes like no one's ever going to be perfect. I know I'm definitely not.
And I've heard kids
I'm definitely not.
Okay, so I do make like butter noodles for my kid. Okay, because of course, like you do that at least once a week as a parent. Okay, unless you have a rare kid that will do without. But in my case, butter noodles are like a staple, once a week kind of thing when I need them to eat. And let me tell you,
there is nothing that tastes better than that.
I
So
know,
will I go
right?
and maybe take a few bites? Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's probably like 300 calories for those few bites.
That's
so
adds up so
parents, if you're
quickly. I know.
making food for your kids, I know how easy it is to like want to take a bite of it and like take
Yeah.
a few more bites of it.
Yeah.
But don't do it.
Because that's
Don't
where
do
it gets you, right? And
They
it's
need
like
the calories
yeah.
because they're not eating as much. So
Yeah.
like to me, that is something that I have to stay away from. That's
Yeah.
what I've been doing recently, I think, as well.
Is you've been more
I've been-
cautious about
yeah,
not
yeah.
eating the stuff?
Well, no,
What?
same when I gained the weight, I've actually
Oh.
been like eating a little bit more of their foods.
Oh, okay.
Then normally
I
I used
see.
to have a rule where I wouldn't even
Right.
take a bite because once you take a bite, it reels you in and you're just
Yeah.
like, you gotta have that next
It's
bite.
that, it's a sneaky
so
calories
good.
that
It's
adds
so
up.
good. It is, right?
know.
Because then you're still eating your other meals. So
Yeah.
um,
Wait, so let's go back to a little bit because again, remember you said you were like 160 at one point, and it was around the time when I was losing weight.
Yeah.
That again, we all kind of got more into like a healthy craze, and you also lost weight around that time. And for you, it was obviously diet was a big thing, right? Were you? I don't know. Did you start working out at that time?
Yeah,
it was
no, I
mostly
wasn't.
diet.
It was just diet. I remember I remember you losing this weight, and I remember, at the time there wasn't really like Google wasn't a thing. Like you weren't going on
Yeah.
and like Googling. There wasn't Instagram. There was no influencers, right? Like your influencers came from like I think you would do Shape magazine.
Shape
back
magazine
then,
was a
yeah.
good one, yeah.
So you would have your workouts and you would have your recipes from there, and you gained a lot of knowledge about calories. And so I think it really intrigued me because you were losing so much weight, and I knew I wanted to. I just didn't know how to be honest. So
Yeah.
you really informed me about calories and healthy eating, and so I think I started making the swap. It might have. I mean, at the time, it was what I knew, right? It might have
Yeah.
been like a pre-made chicken breast from like Costco
Yeah.
with like some corn. I don't know. I'm just giving you
Yeah.
an example. I'm pretty sure that was like what my standard meal was, like a little bit of like.
Well, I actually
baked
remember
beans.
something you did tell me when you were losing the weight was it because before, you would go after school and you would get like Taco Bell and
Yeah.
whatever. But I remember
Taco
it was around
Bell,
that
all the
time. I think you
things.
were also working, so you were basically eating like
You're
maybe
right.
once or twice a day. But you
You're
got pho or
right.
pho from
You're
a Vietnamese
right.
cafe, and it was
You're
just
right.
the veggie pho, right? And that would
Yes.
fill you up, and you would eat that. You lost a lot of weight doing just that.
You're so right. So
Yeah.
I was that's a good point. So I was working. I was working in Nordstrom
Yeah.
and Kid Shoes. And so you're moving around a lot. So I think that you're
Mm-hmm.
right. I wasn't sitting around snacking all day like I probably was prior, and I was moving. And then
You
pho.
cut out all the junk food, pretty much, right? And then you were
All the
eating
junk
mostly just the
food.
pho. So yeah, and that just kind of helped you.
but it was really I would say that you were really bringing a lot of healthy foods or
Yeah.
healthier foods. There was healthy swaps that I just hadn't thought about before. Really,
Yeah.
I mean, it was also the era of Subway, right?
Oh my God, Subway,
you
yeah.
remember that?
We would go there a lot,
So rather
yeah.
than like the barbecue potato chips, I think we would do like the baked Lay's, right? Because that
Yeah.
was like that was like health back
Yeah.
then. Okay.
Yeah, or like
Very
100
different than
calorie
now.
packs. Remember those?
Yes.
We thought
Yes.
those were like healthy.
All the
I know.
non-fats, sugar-free stuff. I mean, it
I
worked,
know.
right? Like.
It would work for weight loss, but it wasn't
Yeah.
sustainable because you'd get hungry off that stuff.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
And
I
it's
do remember
terrible for
things like
you.
that. Or like when they told us like, oh, eat like a tortilla wrap instead of bread because that's better for you, but it's like the same amount of carbs and calories. I don't know.
Yeah,
There
that was
a
the
lot of
thing, the
weird
wraps
stuff.
for a while.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
big thing back in the day. It was a lot
But
of
I
weird
think
stuff.
you really inspired the whole family. So
Yeah.
shout out to you, Whit.
Yeah,
You
I
really,
mean, ever then since then, I mean, you work out now, and you've gotten more into working out and healthy
yes.
eating. ever
Now,
since
now
then.
I love working
Yeah.
out. Of course, it got after the twins. It was a lot harder, right? Of course. So that was probably the longest period, with the exception of like my injuries that I've had over the years, that I didn't work out for.
Right.
So, but
Yeah.
honestly, like get yourself, find something that works for you. Like you were really good into cardio and doing like these high intensity workouts. Like nothing
That was never your
could
thing.
sway me from working out.
Yeah.
Than like watching you do those workouts.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's a good point to make too. She really doesn't do a lot of cardio. Well, you used to be a swimmer at one point. There was that.
I mean, that was so long ago.
yeah, but that
that's
was
like
so
not.
yeah. In your
that-
adult life, though, cardio was never
No.
really your thing.
No.
You did more weights. You'd say more
weight
weights,
training.
weight training.
I mean, I definitely walking when I could run. I would run,
Yeah.
but like very minimal. Like I am.
Yeah.
She's the runner. Like I would force myself to run maybe a mile as a warm up, but I can't run anymore because of an injury. So now
Yeah.
I just do weightlifting.
Yeah.
And that's my jam. Like that's what I love. And
well,
boxing.
that and then that's true. You did boxing.
I like boxing.
Yeah, we used to take those classes.
So that would probably be like my cardio. So I
Yeah.
think that's the other thing is really find what you love to do. Like
Mm-hmm.
if high intensity is your thing, like do that. If working out in a group is your thing, do that. I don't
Yeah.
like group classes. I don't like high intensity workouts. I just like to do my thing at the gym with weights. So.
No, and I think that's a really important point too, because it is, you don't feel like you have to do exactly what I do, right? Because I'm just different. For me, I love working out. I just find it makes it easier for me to stay on track. And also if I feel like I can eat more if I'm working out. I love it though, right? I can work out for 2 hours at a time. I really can, right? But it's not everyone, but clearly you can still stay really thin and really in shape without doing all that. Again, another thing I always point out too, it's like, I don't care how much you work out. Again, I told you guys, I trained for that half marathon back a few years ago. And when I was like, I think at like my heaviest really since I lost the weight initially. And, but it's because I was eating so much, you know what I mean? And I was just not as healthy, but I was running like, 10 miles every other day. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? My point is like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's another thing too, I think people don't understand. It's like, you could be working out every single day. If you are still eating too many calories, you're not going to see a difference. You know what I mean? You can still gain weight.
Easily.
Or you can still,
Easily. You also overestimate how many calories you're burning. And those little watches or whatever you wear, like
they're not totally accurate. Yeah, I did say
There's
that.
so many factors that go into that. Yeah.
It's good. I mean, I use it as a good like motivational tool.
Yeah.
And like, it's good to see, okay, like if you are more active than you were yesterday, for sure, you burn more calories.
Yeah.
You use it as a motivational tool. I wouldn't like, have like your heart set on that and like, well, it says I burned 1,000 calories today, so I guess I can have this 1,000 calorie Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Again, if weight loss is your goal, that's probably not the best way to go. Weight maintenance, maybe, right? Okay, that's a little bit different. Weight loss though is, that's a little bit trickier.
Also, here's the other thing that for me with cardio, is like sometimes I felt when I would do a lot of cardio, I actually felt hungrier.
Yeah.
And that was when I would come back and like crave carby food, or I would try to overeat just because I was so hungry. I don't feel that way with like weightlifting or working out, and I know that's so different for everyone. Yeah, that's just me personally. So like if you feel that way,
for me,
just maybe try to switch it up, right?
Yeah.
Like that's just personally what I do. When I like go for a run, I'm like, I am starving and I feel like I need to stuff my face with everything.
Yeah.
But not with weights. With weights, I just feel like I can eat a beef stick right after. And like, I feel pretty good about it.
Interesting, because for me, I felt like, well, I don't know. I did these like back-to-back like workout challenges past few months, and I felt
you do intense stuff.
I do intense stuff, and I think like
stuff,
and I think that my issue was because I was doing these challenges, I was not taking any breaks, and I was doing both cardio and weights. But I do find that when I do weights, I feel hungrier. But again, maybe it's because I also did the cardio and I wasn't eating enough protein. There's so many factors, but I did find it really hard to regulate my appetite the past few months because I was just doing so much working out. So that is true. I think that's something if you are trying to lose weight, again, diet will always be key. Working out is amazing. You should do it. It's so good for you. It is not always like the number one factor.
Well, and you always talk about walking.
Oh, walking. Oh, yeah. Walking is great.
Walking is
the best form of cardio.
That's the other thing, right? So here, like we were saying earlier, just taking care of the kids, I get 14,000 to 17,000 steps. I've got twin toddler boys who are crazy, and a 4-year-old that are very active.
Yeah.
So, and we live like on a 1-story. So I think that's a little bit different. So it's like long and I'm like constantly cleaning up after them.
Walking back and forth.
Right. Yeah. So you're getting a lot of steps in.
Yeah.
Yard work was the other thing I got into when I was starting to lose a lot of weight again.
Oh, that burns so many calories.
Raking.
Yeah.
I became obsessed with raking.
Yeah.
Raking's the thing. Yeah. If you got a yard and you got some leaves, just grab a rake.
For real.
Like, seriously.
For real. Yeah. I tell you, turn your watch on and then like, you can see how many steps you get and how many calories. No, it's so true.
The watch is another great tool actually for steps. The watch so I find that when I wear the watch, like the Apple Watch or Fitbit, whatever it is, like anything that tracks steps.
Apple Watch, yeah.
I actually swear that is the most motivating thing because even on days that I'm not moving around or even before kids, I would do whatever I could to get at least 10,000 steps a day, at least. Like, whether it be I'm going to mop the floors 2 times, like, I'm going to do it, right? Because when you can visually see how many steps you're getting, it's like a game. It's like you're motivating.
It's a game,
you're
exactly.
Like you're reaching
it's
for
like setting a
something.
standard for yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that. Okay, so the other thing I think I wanted to talk about was, yes, the fact that she, you look amazing. She had 3 kids pretty much back to back. And you recovered pretty quickly. I mean, you snapped back pretty quickly. So I thought we would talk about that. like, what was an experience like for you? You know, because I know that that's a big thing for women is when they gain the weight and it's hard to lose it again. What do you think are the key things that helped you snap back pretty quickly?
The term snap back, I just don't like, right?
Okay.
And I don't like using that because it's almost insinuating that like there was something wrong with your postpartum body, okay?
Yeah.
For one, but not that like, I'm not saying that against you, by the way. I'm
No,
saying
no,
that in general.
fine.
Like I think that every woman's journey is so different. Like your resources are different.
Yeah.
Like the help you get is different. Your recovery is different. So with my first, I was able to work out up until like the day before I gave birth. So I was able to, obviously your workouts are different, but like I really maintained my workouts during that time. So I felt really good. I had a really great, easy delivery. It was vaginal. So there was really not much recovery time after that. So it really wasn't long before like a few days later, we're going for walks again. Okay. So we were able to do that. And also with one, it was a lot easier to get back into the gym as my husband and I could take turns. And I have parents that live close by. So as he got older, we were able to drop him off with them. And I say all this because I don't want anyone to ever feel bad because I know that not all people have these
same resources.
Okay, they
It's a
just
lot
don't.
different.
And so it is a lot harder. And if you don't, my husband is in the military, so he can take a little bit more time off. Some husbands don't get that much time off. So I'm just prefacing this, by the way, just to make no one feel bad. But I was very determined to get back in shape, right? Especially after you go through 9 months of pregnancy, like your body does change. And it is, of course, like when you get pregnant, okay, like I think most women, their first thought is, am I gonna have my body back, right? Like, of course, like I don't think I know any women that don't have that fear because there's a lot of changes. Yeah. So with after Alexander, it was actually pretty easy to get back to
where you were.
Yeah, to where I was. Easy in the sense though that like I was really deliberate on what I ate. I had to be extra cautious, like, going back into like a calorie deficit because when you're pregnant, you're supposed to eat, X amount more calories. So like you get used to that. And let me tell you, like, you're going to feel hungry. You will feel hungry. Yeah. And then working out again. So that with him, it didn't take too long.
You also breastfed, right?
I did, but not
that helps a lot.
No, so with with my first, I was not able to breastfeed for very long.
Oh, okay.
I just wasn't able to. It just did not with my first. I have sleeping issues, a lot of issues. I just really wasn't able to. I did try and I did, but we substituted. So so that, and I don't know how much truth there is that helps you lose weight or not. Like I just don't know because you also
other people.
eat
I think
more.
our sister Audra, she said from breastfeeding she felt like she lost 20 pounds pretty quickly.
Yeah,
I've heard other people say that.
It burns a lot of calories.
Yeah,
burns a lot of calories. So obviously in the beginning when I was still trying to breastfeed, I had no milk supply then, and so actually the first month or two I was eating like a diet full of things that are supposed to help with your milk production, and a lot of it's caloric. It didn't work. But with the twin pregnancy, let me tell you, I was nervous when I found out I was having twins for many reasons, but the number one reason was like, your body afterwards. With my first, I didn't get stretch marks. My body went back, right? So when I found out I was pregnant with twins, I was really concerned. And with my twin pregnancy, I was not able to work out, like pretty much that entire pregnancy because it was so
you had more issues.
Hard. I had so many issues. Like my pelvic separation, I was starting in June, several months before they were even born, I was still 5 centimeters dilated. So like just walking to the bathroom was uncomfortable. I was pretty much on bed rest.
You were also a lot bigger.
I was bigger.
Understandably,
like
because
one baby is up here pushing on your lungs, so just walking was hard. Like things were very different with this pregnancy. So I was really nervous. And then, I had a C-section with that pregnancy. So the recovery on that was, of course, much longer, right? Yeah. Like you're on bed rest again for 2 weeks. And you're still after that. It's not like you're going to get up and start working out again, right?
No,
like you just had a major surgery, like. Yeah. And then also we had twins plus our toddler at the time. So it was really hard to work out. Yeah. I didn't start working out for, I don't know, maybe even 6-7 months after the twins were born. And we have we have like a home gym upstairs with a few basic equipment, right? So, I did what I could with what I could, right? Like you're getting
How
4
much-
hours of broken sleep a night on a good night.
How much extra weight did you gain with the twins?
Let's see. After like they were delivered, I gained maybe about 19 to 20 pounds.
Okay,
no,
20
sorry.
pounds.
Like probably like maybe like 25 pounds.
Okay.
22,
That's like a
25
normal- yeah.
pounds. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say, I think, again, this is coming from someone who's never been pregnant, but I wonder if, I mean, I think most people would say that you, I don't know the term, maybe got back to your original weight pretty quickly, or, you were able to maintain a thinner figure even now, is because, number one, you were already pretty thin when you got pregnant, right? And
Yeah.
then you only gained like 25 pounds versus I know some people, and again, we know it's so different for everyone.
It is very
I'm not
different,
saying
yeah.
there's any shame in
Right.
gaining more than
Yeah,
that.
of course,
But
of
it's just, I
course.
think that's a big factor when it's like, if you are a woman who is pregnant and you're like, oh my God, like, I can't, how did she do that so quickly? I still feel like a balloon or whatever. It's like, I think you have to take into, like you said, different factors, like having different resources.
Yeah.
And also just the fact that I think that you already had that background of, you already knew what is healthy, how to eat, how to work out, how to lose weight. And
That's
that
a
you
good point,
only
yeah.
gain 25 pounds versus if someone has 60 pounds to lose,
And
So
if
I
you've
think
never had to
that's-
lose weight before, or like if you've
right,
never,
if you don't know, if you were
Right.
never an active person before, if you didn't know about health before, then I think it would be even harder. I wonder if that's why a lot of women find it harder after having a baby to lose the weight, with the other factors, of course, just taking care of kids.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, I
things
can
like
see that.
Yeah.
It is harder.
Yeah.
So like, I always get, the pet peeve of mine is when these influencers say, everyone has the same 24 hours in the day, right? Like,
No, we do not have it. It's not the
no,
same
you've
24
seen what
hours.
it's like,
Yeah.
right? So like,
oh my God, yeah, it's insane.
Yes, of course. Like you
Yeah.
do what you can, right? Like some days it's like, am I going to fold the laundry while they take a nap, or am I going to go work out? And
Yeah.
oftentimes, like probably 9 times out of 10, I'd go upstairs to work out, and with 30 minutes, one twin is waking
Yeah.
up. Maybe even sooner, right? So, but I did with what I could. So I
Yeah.
definitely didn't lose it as fast, and I definitely wasn't where I wanted to be for maybe like at least a year plus.
Yeah.
But I did give myself grace. I
Yeah,
did. I
that's
really,
important.
you have to give yourself grace. And my aunt, who is absolutely wonderful, she gave me the best advice many, many years ago. And she said that, we all go through seasons of life. And, some of our seasons of life, you might weigh a little bit more. And,
Yeah.
and then others you're going to get back. And I really think that that's super important. So like, this is just really,
Yeah.
I mean, to anyone, but if you are a mom and you're like in the thick of it right now, give yourself grace, because this is just your season of life. You can get back into better shape than ever before. And, that season
Yeah.
of life might come.
Yeah.
It's going to get there.
I agree. I think, and I have said before, there's always a time to give yourself grace. There's always a time to, when you do need to go a little bit easy on yourself. But, there's also that time when you need to know when to get your ass back in action, right? So I think it's just
100%,
always
yeah.
knowing that balance. And I think obviously childbirth is one of those things where it's like, look, you don't feel like you need to look perfect tomorrow, right? Like you said, it took you like a year to get back to where you really wanted to. And we all have different standards of where we want to be and different things, but for sure, I mean, even some of you have like said things, commented before, and like, you were upset because you regained some weight and you feel like it's the end of the world. And like, I've tried to tell you again and again, it's like, look, I've gone through that myself, gotten really skinny. I've been, in between. It happens. Like, as you know, it's like you go through different changes, different phases. And I think it's like, you can always get back to where you want to be though. And I think that's something to always remember. You're never just a victim to your circumstances all the time. There's always a way, I think, to get yourself back on track. So yeah, be vigilant. You can still be tough on yourself, but also give yourself enough grace to,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, and especially in that case. But I mean,
Yeah.
look, also like what you say, and I really do like your tough love style, because truthfully, I'm lucky that she's my sister, right? So like, she is my sister. So I mean, even when I read her book, which is amazing, by the way, and I think everyone should read it, but I do. I think it's incredible. Anytime I'm like, I need a little bit of motivation, honestly, you can like pick up that book
She's
and just
not
read
promoting
any
me
chapter.
whatsoever. This is
No,
not-
of course not. No, but I'm actually not. Like, I
Yeah.
genuinely, I've told you this in private. I've told you this before.
Yeah.
Like, or I'll watch your videos and I'm like, you know what? I think I'm gonna get my ass up and just not go for that, like, chocolate chips that I was about to
Yeah.
go for. But like, yeah, but I think that what you and I were saying before, when we feel that we've given ourselves a little too much grace, like when we
Yeah.
feel like, okay, like, we got to a place where we're really happy with our bodies, and so now we're like, oh, we're gonna like enjoy things a little bit differently, like have a little bit more French fries and indulge more. But then you get to a point where you look in the mirror and you're like, like, I'm not loving what I'm seeing right now.
Wait a minute. Yeah.
You know, like
a little too much grace there.
Yeah. And then you're like, okay, like, and then
Yeah,
that's your reality check. And it's like,
Yeah.
rather than being like, oh, like, I feel so fat and like,
Yeah.
I'm so disappointed in myself. Like, no, just like, get back on
to
it.
it.
Just like,
Yeah,
be like, all right,
exactly.
yeah, like, you know.
I think putting too much pressure on yourself, making
Yeah.
yourself feel too bad about it, it doesn't really help you in the long run.
No.
Yeah, I mean, again, why I think tough love has always worked for me too is like, because I am someone who I can be really, like you said, motivated and really like, I'm going to stick to my plan. You can't pay me enough, right, to get off my plan, right?
You are very
but then I
good.
can also be like, I'm going to eat this entire pizza right now. And you know what? And that's just going to be, you know what I mean? So I can easily go back into that because I do like to eat, and I think that's just how I'm wired. So I think
Yeah.
it is kind of always finding that balance, and sometimes it's hard for us to do. But I think that is always going to be the key. They always say
Yeah.
it sounds cliche, but it's true, right? It's
Yeah.
about finding balance.
Yeah, it is balance. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, so one of the reasons why I brought up, you losing the weight after your children is because something that we talk a lot about on this channel is like the skinny shaming, which seems to be really apparent right now. So I know you're not as online as I am with a lot of this stuff. So some of this stuff she's like has no idea what's going on. But
I don't think I have it in me.
Right, but it's like a big thing, where it's just like there's just a lot of hate towards like skinny women or women who are saying like, oh, I like being skinny, I like working out, right? But you told me this story of you were at the gym with your children, the 2 twins and the 5-year-old, right? The 4-year-old.
Yes.
And so just tell us the story of what happened. And of course you looked fabulous, as she always does.
Thank you.
But tell us the story if you don't mind.
So this was a couple months ago when I did actually lose a lot of weight. I lost, I'll just give you perspective. So
Yeah.
I'm 5'7", I was about 111. So that's pretty,
Okay.
that's
You were
pretty
really
tiny,
thin.
right? Like that's
Yeah.
pretty thin. It wasn't, it actually wasn't even on purpose. This was what I was talking about raking. So
Yeah.
if you have a yard, rake it. I just was losing a lot of weight.
Mm-hmm.
And so my face is really thin. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a pretty thin face. So when I lose weight, unfortunately, it goes from my boobs, my butt, and my face. Like all
Yeah.
the places that you want, actually.
Yeah,
fat.
exactly.
I
Of
just,
course.
that's where it loses.
Of course,
So,
right.
So maybe I was looking a little thin. I don't know.
Thinner than you normally
but thinner
are,
than I
I
normally
guess.
are, right?
Yeah.
Like right now
Right.
I'm healthy. Like,
Yeah.
Not to say that wasn't healthy. Sorry, now I'm babbling, but
Yeah.
the point is, okay, so I was walking with the gym. I had, the kids with me, and a woman told me that, I looked too thin.
No. She walked up to you and she said, "Wait, she thought you were the nanny or something?"
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Sorry.
retell. So the story.
Yeah.
You were coming out of the gym, and
So
then
I was coming into the gym.
Okay.
I was coming into the gym, and I had all the kids with me. And a woman asked me if those were all my kids, like if I had the 3 children, and I said, yeah. She goes, like you're really thin. You can see your face is a bit gaunt. Like,
Yeah.
it was not something that you want to hear. Like, it was by no means a
Yeah.
compliment. Okay, it wasn't
Well,
like,
no.
wow, like you look great.
Right.
Like kudos to you. Like, oh wow, those are your 3 kids. Like.
No.
You
Well,
know.
I mean, the way you originally told me, you were like, she came out and she's like, like before she even said anything to you, she just looked at you. She goes, "Are you the nanny?" And you're like, "No, like I'm their mom." Like, you didn't know why she was talking to you.
Yeah, well-
And then she goes, "Oh, you look really thin," like in a really weird way.
Yeah, no, it
right?
wasn't nice. But
It wasn't
her
nice.
approach was not nice. I
Yeah.
mean, basically, she was insulting me, and
Yeah.
and honestly, I probably didn't sleep either, so I'm sure I was not looking great.
Well,
I mean,
right.
I probably was looking gaunt. But the point of that all was that it was a very rude, backhanded statement to make.
Right.
I'm sure she knew they were my kids. I'm definitely not
Of course she did. They
young.
look just like
they
her.
look just
They
like
look
me
just
for
like
one.
her.
I'm
Yeah.
not young, right? Like I'm 37 years old. I'm clearly not the nanny. Like I'm walking into the gym
Yeah.
with these 3 children, right? So
But there was no reason to say that. Even if
No.
you were the nanny,
No.
there's no reason to say that. But I know
No.
exactly what it is, though, because I've seen this online. I've experienced it myself. I can look back on it now. She saw you. She saw that you had 3 kids and that you were still super beautiful, super tiny. And that upset her because she's probably feeling like, okay, well, I don't even have these kids right now and I can't be as thin as her, right? Or whatever.
I don't know.
I hate to say it, but
don't
it's just
know.
true. There are just some really weird people out there. And then, no, again, if she genuinely cared about you and thought you were too thin, she wouldn't have said it like that. But there's no reason to say that
Yeah,
other
that's
than
fair.
she was
Yeah.
jealous and wanted to, But I mean, it's funny because a lot of you guys tell me about your skinny shaming stories. And, I know the fat shaming side. I know a little bit of the skinny shaming side from when I
you
was
have an
younger.
interesting perspective, right?
Yeah,
you kind of have been on both ends.
Yeah.
Actually.
Again, for me, it's like, I guess it's different. You know, someone like maybe like you who was always like grew up on the thinner side. For me, when people like try to say things about me being too skinny, I'm like, it doesn't bother me. Like, not in a way. I'm like, it's so funny. I just did a reel recently, and it's like, I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, you keep it coming, because like someone who has like struggled with like weight, you know, when I was younger, like you telling me I'm look too skinny.
Like, that's the goal.
Okay, thank you. It means something's working. So it's like, that's why it's funny. But I do know that for some people, I think, you know, who have always been really thin, they hear all kinds of things like, oh, you look like a bag of bones. No man, you know, men only want women with curves, like horrible things. So it was just interesting when you told me this story. I kind of feel like you were really surprised by it. You're like, you didn't.
It was. I mean, you know, of course, I don't, by no means do I get those comments often. Like, I've never really been, because I've never been like super skinny. So I wouldn't say that like, I don't know what that's like. Okay. I mean, you come at me, please. I would love it. But no, I haven't got those. But I think since having children, though, you do hear a little bit more. When after I had Alexander, for example, I actually did have a woman ask me how, she's like, oh, you know, that I was so thin, you know, after having my son, and he wasn't, I don't know, maybe he was 7 months at the time. And she's like, oh, well, she's like, it would be nice to have a nanny. Like a comment, it was definitely like a backhanded comment, which I don't have a nanny, by the way.
Right.
Okay.
So she was insinuating that you had a nanny.
Yeah, that like I had all the time to work
that
out.
like you were like, oh, some super rich, like whatever.
Like, I went to like Pilates every morning or something. Like, I don't know.
Which is not the case.
But it wasn't the case. Wasn't the case at all. And I'm sure a lot of moms get this. I mean, you know, the thing is, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
It's
right?
so true.
Like,
if you don't lose the weight, then they say you're lazy.
Yes, but if you do, then like, oh, clearly you don't care about your children, because like you'd rather be at the gym than with your children, right? Like it's a lose-lose situation.
It really
is. Yeah. Like, you just do what makes you happy. Like, if making you happy, if you're like, I'm happiest when I'm thin. Like, I am. Like, I'm just happier when I'm thin. Yeah. And I feel better about myself. I have more energy.
Healthier state of mind.
Right. Like, I'm a better mom. But when I'm like feeling depressed about my weight and about the way I look, then of course that's going to affect my mood. Of course, like,
it affects everything.
You know, unintentionally, it's going to affect your children. So
you might even eat healthier or participate in unhealthier activities.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you know, but it is true. Ever since I lost the weight, you know, being fit or I care about what I look like. I think there's nothing wrong with that. And I've been honest with you guys. I've had my seasons, I guess, you know, during my 20s, I was not the healthiest. I wasn't where I really wanted to be. Maybe I wasn't overweight technically, but I wasn't where I wanted to be. And I think, you know, it's never too late to start. It's never too late to get back into it. We are both in our 30s. I kind of had my own little glow up recently where I lost some weight. You know, I'm always, I think, always trying to be
Whitney.
Well, no, I'm just trying to always, you know, work on self-improvement. I think all of us should be, right? I mean, I think that no one is perfect, and there's all things we can work on if we want to. And I don't think that we should be shamed for that.
I just, here's the thing too, like, life is so freaking short, and I know that everyone says this, but if you are unhappy with, you know, where you are, and especially if weight is a big thing for a lot of people, because it's even outside of the appearance of it, there's a subconscious of knowing that when you are overweight, health issues are dooming. They are in your future. And I think that most people know this, right? So there is nothing wrong with one wanting to be skinny, feeling good about being skinny, and choosing to be skinny, because it is better for you. Like, if you are unhappy, you can be 50, 60, 40, 30, it doesn't matter. Like, you can lose weight at any age. And I just would love to see people be happy with themselves. And you know, I think that weight, again, has been a big factor. And like, what do they say? Nothing tastes as good as skinny feels.
Yeah, I know.
Get a lot of hate for that one.
You will, right.
I think about that a lot when I'm going to indulge another piece of cake. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, no, I totally agree. I think, obviously, you can actually be toxic about it. We are definitely not talking about that. But I think, look, how you look, if you care about it, some people really don't care, and that's fine. Again, everyone should do what they want to do, but if it's something you care about, and if your weight, if you just want to experience what it's like, you know, feeling really good in your body,
having clothes fit you,
it's your life, and it's your life if you should be able to look the way you want to look. I see nothing wrong with it. I think that, I wish everyone, like you said, could experience knowing what it's like to at least try your best, at least try to be the best version of yourself, look your best. I think everyone would be so much happier with themselves. And I think in general, I mean, I think the world would be a happier place if everyone was just focused on themselves
100%.
and focused on bettering their own lives, right?
100%.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for us today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have made it this far, and I'm glad that you guys met my sister. Yeah, this was fun for us to do.
This was fun.
It's a lot of fun.
It's my first time on camera.
But yeah, and if you are new here, then make sure to check out my book, 1 Year, 100 Pounds, available on Amazon. It tells a little bit about my story, how I lost the weight when I was younger, but it's also a tough love guide for how you can lose it too. I also have my 1 Year New You journal. It is a guided weight loss journal. It is where you can track your calories, track your workouts. It is the same journaling method I used and still use to this day to lose weight. So if you want to check that out, it is available on my website, wholcomb.com. I will leave the links in the description below. And if you guys like this episode, you want to see more videos in this style, if you want to see more of my sister, let me know in the comments. We would love to hear your thoughts.
Or don't.
Or don't.
I'm scared of the comments.
Keep all the mean comments towards me, please.
Oh, please don't. Listen, I'm the big sister, okay? I'll come after you.
Yeah, it's been an experience being online. It's very strange.
I don't know how you go, girl, but you've got some tough bones.
Anyway, thanks again for
Skin.
watching. I mean, that kind of works too.
Yeah, it does work, actually.
Yeah, it kind of works. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I've got tough bones, everyone.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Where was I? Thanks again for watching. I will see you all next time. Okay.